Hey guys, welcome to another Trade Genius podcast. Bob and Phil here as usual. Guys, Bob and I have witnessed a murder. We need to talk about it with you. Let's dive in.
Trade Genius.
Bob, an economic murder taking place. Tell us about what's going on here with these jobs numbers.
Man, it's like a double-barreled shotgun, Phil. Which is really interesting is that, guys, you're not supposed to have bankruptcies going up during an economic expansion. So they're lying to us, okay? And this is just the beginning. It took this long for the higher rates to start biting into people's ability to pay for things. And now the bankruptcies are starting to skyrocket. On top of that, unemployment. Do you want to show the revisions one first? This is amazing. This is how they lie to you, and they get you to buy the stocks in the stock market because they fudged the number, and then they go ahead and revise up to 1 million jobs vanishing in a revision. They do this all the time. How many commercials have you just seen in the last month about the current administration bragging about all the jobs they created? Well, yeah, they're phantom jobs. And then here's the one that scares me absolutely the most, Phil. This fractal's playing out between the great financial crisis, unemployment, and the 2008 and current. This is absolutely scary. And what happens is that, it's slow, and then you get the Sornet wave, which is just goes vertical. And we're now starting in that what I call the acceleration phase. And wait till we get to the end of the year. That's when they really start to dump jobs going into their confessional at the Q4 earnings report, saying, look, they've already taken the tough steps when they report that they didn't make their earnings. And this is going to be really, really hard. As I explained before, in my personal view is these jobs aren't coming back, and people that are older losing massive amounts of income to be able to sustain their lifestyle. I think we're going to see absolutely elderly poverty here, Phil, like we haven't seen since the Great Depression. And it's really sad. And it's just going to become absolutely, I think, astounding to people that it's even possible because the politicians have so totally unprepared the population for what's coming. Hey everybody, it's Bob with Trade Genius. Usually I do fun ads. I talk about our service, but I want to be serious with you for a second. We've been helping a lot of people trading for a long time. As you can see here, I want to let them do the talking for me for a change. But most importantly, we want to help you too. If you've not joined our service yet, come check us out, tradelikeagenius.com. Full service. We have chat room. We have the algorithms for you. We give trades out every day. We educate you. So go to tradelikeagenius.com. Check us out. What you get out of our service is much, much more than what you put into it. And we'd like to see you in the room. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I think it's a recipe for a greater wealth divide too going forward. So in other words, we can see the market rebound, do well and towards the end of the decade, but the wealth divide gets greater and greater. I think that's really what they should be fixing and focused on. But given what's transpired, how it's transpired, and I think just what the fallbacks are going to be in terms of how they view, repairing the problem in the markets. I wish the markets where the stock markets are trading wasn't such an important bellwether of where they feel like, we should be. I think what the middle class is doing, expanding the middle class, that I think is the more healthy approach. And they say, oh, well, that would come. We just have to get GDP to expand again. But their methods and means of getting GDP to expand basically comes down to debt creation. And it's just, that's the old central banking playbook. And unfortunately now we're at the point where it's just creating a wealth divide that's getting greater and greater and greater. And I think, if you want to talk about Sornet waves, I think if you plot the wealth divide, that's about the Sornet wave higher. So unfortunately, now you have to look at it like, okay, what can I do to combat that? Because that's the game, right? That's the game that you have to play and you have to beat. So it's going to be a matter of you have to get allocated on these dips. We're gonna have a historical dip here, guys, and it's maybe one of your last times that you really have an opportunity to buy the dip, because I don't know how many more times they're gonna allow us to see a type of recession that we're going to see going forward. You guys have seen the game they play. The Fed's gonna want some deflation, and then they're gonna do what they did from the great financial crisis again. And unless you are playing this properly, you're just going to get left behind. So you got to be very careful about buying this dip. The next 18 to 24 months, I think, is one of the more important windows in the entire financial sector's history, in the stock market's history. And people's portfolios history, really. I'm talking about going back to the beginning of the stock market. I think this is a very important window coming up where you can actually help yourself with what's coming down the pipe. Obviously, it's going to be inflationary, but you have to be able to catch this dip and reallocate. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, I mean, look, they think they're in control, but they may not be, and that's what we have to really worry about. You can only do this if there's an ability or enough productivity to manage it. And when you have a population that's aging, you have an aging population, and you got an uneducated population via immigration coming in, and it's a recipe for disaster because there's not going to be the jobs, they're not going to pay enough money, and they're gonna play all kinds of stupid games, and all it's going to do is the more time they create inflation, the worse it's going to be for people, because we're past the Rubicon. The only way out of this, Phil, is absolute debt repudiation. And that means the rich have to take massive, massive haircuts, either voluntarily or involuntarily. And I think that's going to be, a really difficult place to be because the rich have not yet taken a serious haircut probably since, the Civil War. They've always been able to sidestep it, but you're not going to be able to when you have a debt repudiation because who owns all the debt and who owns all the assets? The rich. And so when these dip buys don't work, you're just going to see absolute repudiation. And you have to be prepared for that too. And there's ways to do it. That's being liquid. A lot of the wealth in this country is illiquid wealth. It could just simply go away. There was a saying in the Great Depression that the dumb money lost money first, the smart money lost money second, and the rich lost money at the end. And I think we're going to have the same situation here again, where the only way out of this thing is basically they're just going to have to wipe the slate clean. And a lot of people fear that. They call that the Great Reset. We don't know what that looks like, but I think we're going to have to be prepared for it. Maybe not in 25, 26, but definitely the next time around. But I'm not above saying this dip could fail too. This is serious, serious, serious stuff. If you're just blindly going through living your life like you normally live, you're going to be in for a serious awakening.
Yeah. Guys, let us know your thoughts. Do you think this unemployment level is going to follow the great financial crisis trajectory and just skyrocket from here? Or do you think we're going to buck the trend? We're going to be able to salvage this economy and we avoid a recession? Let us know your thoughts below. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you, Bob, for the charts. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.
Trade Genius.